Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and a brand new feature is rolling out also soon into the war with an expansion with a patch 11.17 dropping in a handful of days called a Combat Assistant, otherwise known as a Rotation Helper. It is a brand new tool that's technically there to help newer players but also inexperienced players learn how to play their class specifically from a DPS perspective, and it's primarily a tool to help increase your overall damage by in a way teaching you which buttons you should be using when for your character. There's not a lot of in-game tools to help players learn classes, and many players have to go out and use guides in order to learn how to play their class. So part of this Combat Assistant comes with two features. One, a highlight feature that just kind of recommends you which buttons to press, and then there's a controversial one-button rotation that essentially plays the game for you. It almost feels like an AI is playing your character, as while you are there pressing every single one of those keystrokes, it just changes which spell it executes next for you. And it's a really wild feature. Early in the weeks, we got to test out just how good this single button rotation is going to be. However, it's not advertised as a feature that's meant to be better than a player playing the game, as it does come with some limitations, and yeah, it was really clear to see that it wasn't really executing some of the best damage out there, though for some class specs it actually was doing somewhat well. Definitely not better than a real player playing the class itself with the knowledge built up over the years, but it was at least good enough to impress some, and many players started to wonder, can this button function for PvP? Because oftentimes under pressure, when you get attacked by other players, you usually make wrong decisions and your rotation can suffer because of it. But the button cannot make wrong decisions. Even if it does play a little bit slower, can the accuracy of the button itself overpower any kind of PvP environment and actually increase your overall damage output with the PvP content? So for the next video, I want to do a PvP test for the one button rotation assistant to see just how good and just how well can it play your character within a PvP context with a bit of a class burst PvP test. As always, if you guys want to see more videos like these for the War with the Expansion, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So let's go over some of the conditions for testing. I just wanted to make sure that the button basically gets all of the spotlight. Now, technically, it is very possible to set up big bursts and then kind of start the button with the right direction and then let it take over. But I really wanted to see how much can this button do all on its own. If you just had the button take the wheel from you completely, just let it take over, how well can it perform within PvP context? I kitted out every single one of the class and every single spec in the game with the best gear that is available over on the PTR, minus corruptions for the helms as well as the sockets, but everything else, enchants, gear, items, all of the things that are standard that everybody is using right now on the ladder. As for talents, I also wanted to go super standard as well, so all of the talent builds are from solo shuffle for every single class spec. Technically, I could make the builds to be like super bursty and cheesy, but I decided to go with like the most standard PvP experience just to see how well the button would function in that type of content. And when I say I want the button to do everything, I mean everything. If it's an ability that is on the button itself, that I, for the most part, wanted to press it all on its own. I'm not priming any abilities ahead of time unless there's like some kind of a buff that it will use. Like Shaman, for example, will use Stormkeeper before they have a proper go, so I just have a Stormkeeper on my bard specifically. But outside of that, anything that isn't part of the major cooldowns, such as Ascendance for Shamans, for example, I will use that myself. Bloodlust, which is heroism, also not on the list, I'll also use that myself, but everything else that is on the button I don't touch. I just let the button take over, let it control, and let it do everything all on its own from that point forward. Now, the button itself did have some quirks, like for Feral Druids, it doesn't really like to keep them in stealth for some reason for the Opener, Prowl, Rake, or Shred. For Rogues, it doesn't like when you use Wound Poison, so I had to settle with Deadly Poison, otherwise the button would constantly switch from poison for me, so I just had to work with it. Also, the button is still a work in progress. It isn't amazing for every single class out there. Some classes you'll notice have a bit more ramp up, even though they could just start hitting some of the hardest hitting abilities immediately if you're trying to get the most amount of burst. So it does try to be super ethical for my PvE standard damage rotation with all the debuffs and everything. But for other classes, it actually just goes into burst immediately and breaks the rules as soon as you have any buttons available. So it just has a bit of more of a unique experience for every single class spec out there, especially for evokers, as sometimes it doesn't really know what it wants to do with the empowerment mechanic and how long it wants to channel each and every one of those abilities. But I still did want to show that stuff off in this video just so you can see how that button would realistically function in a proper PvP scenario where it's all given task is just to burst down another player as quickly as possible, quirks, warts, and all. Now we come to the very best part of the video, is where I just stop yapping and we can just see the results for ourselves. So I do hope you guys enjoy the showcase. But with that, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did enjoy this test or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like. I would very much appreciate it. Also, join our Discord community if you want to keep up with any new guides coming out for the patch 11.17, or if you're just looking to keep up with some of the newer updates like the patch 11.2, which we should hopefully be hearing some more about once 11.17 finally hits the live realms. Also, let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.